What's up, Celtics Nation? The chatter surrounding Jaylen Brown just took a wild new turn, and we got a lot to unpack today. Buckle up, because this isn't just another off-season rumor. With Jason Tatum potentially sidelined for the rest of the season due to injury, the Celtics suddenly find themselves at the center of some serious speculation. And of course, when something like this happens, Jaylen Brown's name is the first to pop up in trade talks. But this time, it's not just whispers. There's an actual proposal floating around, and honestly, it might be one of the most baffling ideas we've seen in a while. Let's just start with the basics. Jaylen Brown is not just any player. He's been one of the pillars of this Celtics team, a former Finals MVP, and a guy who consistently brings it on both ends of the court. He's taken over games when needed, played through adversity, and been the heart of this squad alongside Tatum. So naturally, with Tatum injured, you'd expect the team to lean even more heavily on Brown. But instead, what we're hearing is talk about possibly shipping him off in a trade. That's a bold move, and not necessarily in a good way. Now, the team that's reportedly interested? The Orlando Magic. Yes, the same Orlando Magic that Boston took down in just 5 games in the first round of the playoffs. A young team with a promising future, no doubt, but let's be real here. They're still figuring things out. And trading away Jaylen Brown to a rising conference rival? That's not just risky, it borders on reckless. Before we even get into the details of the trade offer, the idea alone raises a lot of red flags. So here's what's supposedly on the table: Jonathan Isaac, Anthony Black, Moritz Wagner, and 2 protected first-round picks. That's the entire package the Magic are reportedly willing to offer in exchange for Jaylen Brown. At first glance, it feels more like a fantasy trade cooked up in a video game than a serious NBA transaction. Let's break that down for a second. Jonathan Isaac, when healthy, is a fantastic defensive player. No one's questioning that. But when healthy, is doing a lot of heavy lifting here. The guy has struggled to stay on the court, and while his defensive instincts are elite, his offensive game remains extremely limited. You're not building a franchise around him, especially not in exchange for someone like Brown. Then we've got Anthony Black. Young talent, sure. Some potential, maybe. But nothing about his game so far suggests he's a future star. He's raw, still developing, and we've seen countless players with similar profiles come and go without making much of a mark. If the Celtics are in any way serious about contending in the near future, or even retooling, they can't afford to take shots in the dark like that. Moritz Wagner is a solid veteran presence, plays hard, and can stretch the floor a little. But let's not kid ourselves. He's not moving the needle in a trade like this. He's not a game changer, and he's definitely not a reason to consider parting ways with one of your core stars. And then there are the picks. 2 first-rounders, but protected. That right there should tell you everything. Protected picks are like buying a lottery ticket where the grand prize isn't even guaranteed. And considering the Magic's upward trajectory, those picks might not even be all that valuable. If they keep improving, those selections land late in the first round, and late first-rounders rarely turn into franchise-altering players. So again, what exactly are the Celtics gaining here? Honestly, it's hard to even call this offer tempting. It's closer to being downright disrespectful. A team doesn't move off a Finals MVP without a blockbuster return. And this is anything but. It's not that Boston is desperate to hold on to Brown out of nostalgia or stubbornness. They know his value. They know what he brings to the table. And they know that if they're ever going to even consider trading him, the return needs to be massive. Not average. Not decent. Massive. Now look, it's true that the Celtics are in a bit of a weird spot. With Tatum out, the season might feel like it's slipping away. But let's get one thing straight. This team is not blowing it all up. They're not heading into a full rebuild. If anything, they're recalibrating, maybe taking a step back to leap forward. That means making calculated moves, not knee-jerk reactions. And this proposed trade? That's as knee-jerk as it gets. Even if Brown were to request a trade, and there's no indication that he has, it's hard to imagine Boston entertaining something this underwhelming. A guy like Jaylen doesn't just walk out the door for a package built on ifs, maybes, and backup plans. If a deal ever does materialize, it's going to involve a centerpiece, someone like Franz Wagner at the very least, and some unprotected picks with real value. That's the kind of offer that starts a conversation. What's currently being floated doesn't even get you to the front desk. And let's be real here. Sending Jaylen Brown to a team within the same conference adds another layer of complexity. You don't want to help strengthen a potential playoff rival unless you're absolutely certain the return is worth it. If the Celtics ever face the Magic in a future postseason series and Brown is lighting them up from the other side, you better believe that front office is going to hear it from every direction. It's also worth noting that Boston isn't just hoarding players for the sake of it. There's a strategy in place, a vision. Any deal they consider will be with that in mind, whether it's loading up on assets to make a bigger move later or shoring up the roster with complementary pieces for Tatum and Brown. But trading away one of your franchise cornerstones for a batch of uncertain returns? That's not a strategy. That's a gamble, and not a smart one. So while these rumors make for entertaining headlines and fan debates, the truth is the Celtics aren't going to be bullied into a bad trade. They've built something strong over the years, and they know how close they are to that elusive championship. Moves will come, sure, but not like this. Not a trade that feels more like a step back than a step forward. If Jaylen Brown is going anywhere, it's going to be for something big. Something that makes everyone stop and say, okay, now that was worth it. Until then, fans can rest easy. The Celtics aren't in panic mode. They're in planning mode. And that makes all the difference. Now, let's dive deeper into the context of this situation, because understanding the Celtics' mindset is key to grasping why a trade like this makes so little sense. Boston's front office isn't known for making rash decisions. They've built this team carefully over several seasons, drafting well, developing talent, and supplementing the roster with smart acquisitions. Their goal isn't to tear everything down at the first sign of adversity. Instead, it's about maintaining a competitive core and adapting as needed. The reality is, Jaylen Brown is more than just a scorer or a defensive stopper. He's a leader. When Tatum goes down, it's Brown who steps up, takes charge, and carries the team. His ability to elevate his game under pressure has been proven time and again. For the Celtics, losing that presence would leave a massive void. So it makes sense that any offer to move him has to reflect that kind of impact, not just a collection of hopeful prospects and conditional picks. Orlando's package simply doesn't cut it. Jonathan Isaac's defensive skills are impressive, but he's been plagued by injuries and hasn't developed much offensively. Anthony Black shows flashes of potential, but he's still raw and far from a sure bet. Moritz Wagner is a reliable role player, but doesn't bring the star power Boston would need in return. And those protected picks? They're unlikely to become anything more than late first-round selections, especially with the Magic improving. The Celtics have a window to contend now. With Tatum and Brown, they have two all-stars who can lead a championship run. That window is precious, and the team can't afford to make moves that don't strengthen their chances in the short term. Yes, they're thinking about the future, but not at the expense of their current core. Another factor to consider is how trading Brown to a team like Orlando would affect the dynamic of the Eastern Conference. The Magic are a young, hungry squad on the rise, and adding someone like Brown could instantly make them a serious playoff contender. Boston would be essentially handing over a key piece to a future rival. Unless the return is extraordinary, that's a move few fans or analysts would support. The Celtics' approach in this situation seems to be focused on patience and prudence. They're willing to wait for the right offers, the ones that make sense both financially and competitively. In the meantime, they'll rely on their depth and coaching to navigate the challenges posed by Tatum's injury. It's also worth mentioning how this situation highlights the complexities of NBA trades in general. It's not just about swapping players. Teams have to consider contracts, team chemistry, the salary cap, and long-term strategy. Boston has a clear plan, and it doesn't involve giving up one of their best players for a subpar deal. Fans might be frustrated seeing trade rumors swirling, but that's part of the game. The media loves to speculate, and sometimes even the players get caught up in the drama. But the front office knows what they have in Brown. They know his value extends beyond stats and highlights. Looking ahead, if Brown were to be moved, it would be with a plan to upgrade the roster meaningfully. That could mean acquiring younger talent with star potential, unprotected draft picks with high ceilings, or established veterans who can contribute right away. Anything less wouldn't justify losing such a vital piece. There's also the human element to consider. Jaylen Brown is not just a player. He's a person with ties to the city and teammates he's grown with. Trades impact lives, and teams generally try to respect that bond, especially with core players. This isn't just business, it's relationships, loyalty, and legacy. Given all this, the speculation around a trade to Orlando feels premature at best and misguided at worst. The Celtics aren't rebuilding, and they're certainly not selling low on a player of Brown's caliber. If anything, these rumors should serve as a reminder of how much the team values him. In the end, the Celtics are focused on winning. They've built a contender, and they're not about to gamble that status away lightly. Any moves they make will be strategic, thoughtful, and aimed at strengthening their championship aspirations. So, while the trade chatter makes for exciting conversation, keep in mind the bigger picture. The Celtics are positioning themselves for success, both now and in the future. Jaylen Brown is a huge part of that equation, and any decision involving him will reflect the seriousness of Boston's championship ambitions. But before we continue, please remember to subscribe to the channel and give the video a like. Your support helps us keep bringing you the latest news about the Boston Celtics. Feel free to share your thoughts on the news in the comments as well. Whispers are swirling around the NBA as rumors surface that Boston Celtics veteran Al Horford may be facing a serious setback. Sources close to the situation hint that the season forward could be caught up in a doping scandal, with whispers suggesting he might have tested positive for a banned substance. If these murmurs hold any truth, the implications for Horford and the Celtics could be significant, potentially sidelining him for up to a year. Al Horford, known for his leadership and steady presence on the court, has been a key figure for Boston in recent seasons. His ability to anchor the defense and contribute offensively has made him a respected name in the league. The possibility of a doping violation casts a shadow over his otherwise respected career and raises many questions about what this could mean for both the player and the franchise. Although official confirmation is still pending, the basketball community is buzzing with speculation. Some insiders suggest that the Celtics are closely monitoring the situation, understanding that if Horford is indeed suspended, the team will have to adjust their lineup and strategies accordingly. Losing a player of Horford's caliber would undoubtedly impact Boston's playoff aspirations and overall team chemistry. Fans and analysts alike are watching closely for any updates, hoping that this rumor proves to be nothing more than unfounded gossip. The NBA has strict policies on performance-enhancing drugs, and any violation typically results in a lengthy suspension, often lasting up to a year. For a player in the later stages of his career, such a suspension could be career-altering. While Horford has maintained a clean reputation throughout his career, the sudden buzz around this alleged doping incident has left many shocked. The Celtics organization is expected to issue a statement soon, and the league is likely to conduct a thorough investigation before any formal penalties are announced. Until then, the rumor mill continues to churn, leaving fans anxious and hopeful for clarity in the near future. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to keep receiving exclusive news about the Boston Celtics, please subscribe to our channel and give the video a like. We always appreciate your comments and opinions. See you in the next video.